Before we start, I want to say I think commentaries and comics is something that I think can actually work and has worked in the past. I think it can work well in modern day stories as well. But in order for it to do it, you have to make sure you're sensitive to the topic or topics you're discussing. That isn't the case with Young Justice Dark Crisis. Instead, this series fails at it hard. The plot is about Mickey Mxy trapping Tim, Connor, and Impulse into some weird world that's stuck in the 90s with the same style and morals of the 90s. While Cassie, Arrowette, and Bright Tornado have to save them. I reviewed this entire series, and while I was patient in the first few issues, I just couldn't keep it up. And I ultimately gave it a pretty bad review. But now I want to talk even more about it because I reread it, and I still just can't get over it. Because I wanted to make sure I was giving it a fair review when I gave it a bad one. And I think I honestly gave it a nicer review than I should have. Anyways, let's get into it. You see, it's attempting to have a commentary on the evolution of xenophobia, misogyny, and homophobia in the world. Now, the way it's handled, it's written as if it's not a thing anymore, which is very inaccurate. I myself am somebody of color and bisexual, and I can testify these are all still things. Yes, not as bad as it was in the 90s, but still very much active. While in this comic, it acts as if it only existed in the 90s. Another issue of this is how the story focuses on the commentary. Mickey, the racist villain, is, like I said, racist, sexist, and homophobic to our heroes. This also includes a moment where he goes into detail about how much Cassie's old costume made him feel horny. As well as going into things such as apparently she can't be a hero because she's a woman. He says all this to Tim, Connor, and Impulse, none of whom stand up for Cassie or call him out for being a pig. They just react as if they don't care. If Mickey said all these things and the heroes at least reacted, it would, in my opinion, be much, much better. But instead, Tim, Connor, and Bart all act as if this is okay for him to talk like, which it isn't. This series also turns Arrow into the biggest hypocrite. She talks about how the Young Justice team was unfair and didn't make choices before thinking. Yet, she doesn't include herself in that. Instead, she acts as if she's completely innocent in all of this. Meanwhile, in the 90s series, the reason why she left the team was because she tried murdering people. She also claims that her and Cassie were the only female members of the team, which was also inaccurate. Secret and Empress also existed, both of whom the series just really wants to ignore for some unknown reason. The characters in this series that come across the best are definitely Wonder Girl and Impulse, with their stories, in my opinion, being much better in the better parts of this series. With how Impulse has shown to have grown in respect women more, which I think was handled a lot better than the whole Mickey fantasizes about Wonder Girl stuff. Well, Wonder Girl, I think, comes across better because she wasn't actually in the 90s world. Instead, she was just constantly being gaslit by Arrowette and verbally abused by her, which just made me feel really bad for Cassie. But Cassie does at the end call her out for her BS, which I thought was enjoyable. Except she doesn't mention the fact that Arrowette tried to kill somebody. That was never mentioned. I don't know if they're trying to retcon that from ever happening, but it happened. So when Arrowette ever just talks about how the team always made bad choices, it doesn't exactly work very well because she probably made the worst one. Superboy, on the other hand, I think really comes across just horribly. He thinks that Impulse is an idiot and isn't capable of doing anything, which he straight up says. He doesn't care at all about how Tim feels about being bisexual in this world and how he feels like everyone's belittling him. He doesn't care that Cassie isn't even Cassie. Because Mickey made this whole fake Cassie for the 90s world, who he made purposely to be very flirtatious, which isn't a bad thing, of course, but the way it's handled makes it come across very much as if Connor doesn't care about actual real Cassie, instead just wants fake Cassie, because he doesn't pick up on that this isn't the real Cassie. He claims to love her, yet can't tell that this isn't Cassie. Both Bart and Tim caught on pretty quickly. And to top it all off, Connor wants to stay here. He wants to stay in the world where his friends are being discriminated, and tries to talk them into staying with him. That makes him come across just horribly. Because it's like he's okay with the misogynism of this world, with the racism of the world, of the homophobia of the world. And it also makes him come across kind of selfish, because he doesn't care how the other characters feel, he only cares about himself. I actually used to like Connor. I don't know if I do anymore. I hope this whole story is either retconned, especially for Connor's sake, or just like some sort of explanation of why Connor was acting the way he was in the series. I don't know. It's just, yeah, it really makes Connor come across horribly, makes Arrowette come across horribly, makes Tim come across kind of bland, which I guess is better than coming across badly. Like I said, Impulse and Cassie are the only characters really here I think are given actual good moments. Or perhaps not even good, but like mediocre moments. But they're definitely the best part of this entire series. Anyways, that's it, and I apologize if I offended anybody who actually liked this comic, because if you do, that's okay. You can like different things than I dislike, because I'm sure you dislike certain things that I like. And that's it. Like always, please like, subscribe, and I'll see you guys next time. Bye.